just use folks' time efficiently. So we're starting around 7:04. So I think the first agenda item, the first agenda item is to review the agenda. So did anyone have any additions or other items to add? Hearing none, we'll just kind of move on. So I'm happy to be able to introduce a couple of new members to our committee. Kind of maybe starting with Joe Benzie, who I don't think I've really had the pleasure of sitting and chatting with you, Joe, but it's good to have you here. And Joe is a Board of Trustee member, as many of you know, so that gives us the more direct kind of connection into what is happening at the Board of Trustee level and some of the township activities that relate to the lake. So pleasure to have you here, Joe.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Yeah. And then secondly, we have Mary Schaefer, who's just been added to the board, I guess, at not the most recent, but the previous Board of Trustee meeting. So we welcome Mary. Mary,
thank you.
Say a couple of words about yourself. I don't know if everybody knows you yet or not, but
I'm sorry. Say that again. I'm sorry.
Oh. So do you want to introduce yourself to the rest of the committee? I don't know if everyone knows you, but I think most do.
Okay. My name's Mary Schaefer. I live with my husband, and we built a house on the northwest corner right on Park Lake, and we've been here since 2016. Love the place, and just happy to help with anything you need.
So we're happy to have you here, and yes, and your husband was one of the folks that's helped with the plant surveys. So you both kind of keen on the lake, and we appreciate that. I think I want to kind of acknowledge Rick Price has tendered his resignation, kind of to allow some room for some new folks on the board. So I've expressed my appreciation to Rick and chatted with him, and kind of view him as a member emeritus. So we will see if he kind of shows up as the part of the public from kind of here on out. Go ahead, Leon.
Is Mary taking Rick's place, or she's taking an open place?
So the complexity, and I guess I won't go into great detail, is there was some uncertainty about membership on the board. I'll leave it at that. And okay. We kind of had to do a little bit of chatting with our supervisor about the membership on the board. So I don't view Mary as like replacing one or the other, but
I mean, are we full now? Are we full now with who's present here?
Yes, I think we are now.
So there's 6 members plus a board rep.
Right.
Okay.
And board rep, whether it's 6 members and a board rep or 7 members, kind of depends how you count people.
Okay.
Okay, good. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Oh, your voice sounds a little hoarse there. So.
Yeah, I had the COVID vaccine, and I've been a little hoarse since then. So.
Okay. So the joke is you've been a pony since then?
Something like that, yeah.
So well, hopefully you're feeling better soon. If you're not feeling up to the meeting, just bow out. We'll forge ahead. And hello, Judy. So with that, again, we now are kind of at full complement and full steam, and again, look forward to having folks. The appointments, at least for Mary, is for 3 years, and John was reappointed for 3 years. So, and that's kind of partly retroactive with the terms kind of turning over in December. So anyways, that's all kind of worked out. I didn't print out my own copy, so I distributed minutes from the last meeting. So see if anyone had any.
I just have one question for Cheryl. Under old business, on the end of the cleaning stations paragraph, if sooner than wait to install boat launch statement. What is a boat launch statement? What's a statement? Or is it just wait to install the boat launch?
I have no idea. I can't remember. Sorry. Yeah.
Judy's got her hand.
Yeah, go ahead, Judy. Sorry.
When we last were in front of the board discussing with them the boat wash, and it was determined that because we needed a 3-section cistern, we couldn't put a boat wash where we were talking about. We, Friends of Park Lake, requested that they put a statement down at the boat launch. It says,
What it is.
invasive species present, please wash your boat.
That's what it is.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know how.
So maybe with that, if Cheryl, you can edit just to clarify a statement regarding the presence of invasive species in the lake. So with that, kind of edit to the minutes. Anything else, folks? See?
No. With that, I would move to approve.
Yeah. A second.
Yes.
Okay. So with that, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So we'll move along. We have our section for public comments, but looks like no public beyond Judy, who has a special place. So Judy, I'm presuming you didn't have any public comments outside of.
I'll just wait till my section of the agenda appears. Thank you.
Yeah. So pardon me, for Joe and Mary's benefit, next on our agenda is we review our action item list, and kind of this is the goal is both to keep us kind of on track, as well as look at things to the future. So we've kind of the 5-year plan, that's something we've had on our action item list, but that's really been kind of a just once a year that goes as part of our report. So in some way that could be the last. We usually don't act much. The second was Phragmites, again, mostly for Joe and Mary's benefit. Phragmites is an invasive plant species. It's the really, really tall grass with the large kind of plume-like heads that grows in wetlands. There's other grasses similar that grow in people's gardens. And it's a pretty big problem in some areas. And we had some on the kind of the north and west side of the lake. And that's been, I think, largely taken care of by our herbicide applicator. There is some, or was some, on the dike and Webster Road, and I just need to get some time to go out and kind of geo-reference those again. The local CISMA, which is the Cooperative Invasive Species Management Area, I think is the A. They apparently have funds to work on Phragmites this year, so we'll see if they can respond legally, because again, it depends if it's on private land and all the other, and logistically. So that's something I'll be kind of getting on fairly quickly. Coliform bacteria testing, we're planning on doing that in July, assuming COVID doesn't kind of limit us as it did last year. I've got connections within our department, folks who have equipment to do that, so they've been able to do it pro bono for us. So we've focused that right around the 4th of July, since that's the time when that's most likely a problem at the beach. The boat cleaning station's on a little bit later in our agenda. We can talk about that. Lake monitoring, Dawn, do you want to kind of update us? I think we just got some info, and typically phosphorus sampling starts within 2 weeks of ice out, so we're kind of there.
Yes. As a matter of fact, the sampling packet came, and as a result, JB and I managed to get all the junk out of my boat and get it out of the garage and get it in the water. So I did get a sampling today. It's in the freezer. I still haven't actually even filled out the paperwork yet, but also got a Sankey disc measurement to go along with that test, and I found water clarity at 10 feet in 17 feet of water. So it was a lovely day on the lake.
Yeah. Yeah, it was nice. Some ducks out there, I see, and everything. So the plans for the summer, just checking, are you taking the lead again on the Secchi, and are we doing chlorophyll this year? Because we didn't do it last year.
Did we discuss that?
I don't think we discussed it yet, so we can discuss it now.
Yeah. They haven't opened up that, so we still have time to make up our mind. But with the request for the phosphorus test, we pretty much have entered the paperwork. So they're gonna get a bill ready for us, and we're gonna have to decide exactly what we want to do, so we can pay for that and get those test kits and that coming our way.
No. So in that, has that been paid for by the Friends of Park Lake in the past? The monitoring costs?
Nola and I have been taking care of it.
You've been doing that. So I think, given that we skipped chlorophyll last year, it'd probably be worth sampling chlorophyll, Secchi, phosphorus like we've traditionally done.
Okay. Do you still have the test kit and all of that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So we should be good there. And then again, for the part, particularly for Joe and Mary, usually led a kind of a sampling expedition for the aquatic plants, usually early August, but pardon me. This year we'll have to see it. There's a potential I'll be out of town for a couple weeks, then we can adjust the timing. So again, that's it's part of the monitoring program, but that we don't get charged for, just partly the way we're doing it. It's a little different than kind of simpler approaches. So good. So it looks like we should have a pretty much full complement of lake monitoring this coming year. The purple loosestrife control, I don't remember if I mentioned last meeting, I had talked to Karen, and I think she should have put in the purchase order for the beetles, and we can coordinate with her in April. I think it's pretty straightforward to disperse them, but it may be good for people just to be able to see them, what the heck they are, what they look like, and then get people involved. So I'll update you on that. I'm going to make myself a note. I probably ought to chat with Karen just to make sure that actually happened. So that's the action items. Again, for sake of our new members, we don't want to be burdensome on people's time. So, but if there are particular items that you want to see elevated, we try to associate items with people to do it, just to kind of reminder, accountability, and that. The future items, I don't think we usually don't go through one by one. So those are there for your viewing pleasure. But again, if there's ideas you have that maybe we don't want to pursue immediately, but you'd like to kind of incorporate into our institutional memory, just bring them up and we'll add them. So any other items for our action and future item list? No, seeing none. So Friends of Park Lake report. So Judy, do you want to tell us stuff?
Okay, sure. So I successfully raised a commitment for $2,500, the $1,000 from Friends of Park Lake, and I raised a commitment. I have a commitment for the additional $1,500 from friends and neighbors of Park Lake, which is great. I have not purchased the equipment yet because there's been some discussion between Dan and the township about placement, when and where. I will say, Dan, that I do have a commitment from Dale Hosford's to excavate a site for the boat cleaning station. I was down there the other day, and it looks like if you drive in front of the lake down the driveway in front of the parking areas, there's that one big grassy area between the driveway for the boat launch and the fence. The only thing between that grassy area, and the road is a curb. And I'd be happy to talk to Dale Hosfords and see if he could remove that curb and then just make a drive area just to match the drive that's goes into the Wishwasher Park. It's just would be just opposite Wishwasher Park. Just put some sand and gravel there so that, and then he said he would also pour the pad. So the boat cleaning station takes a 10 by 10 inch pad, but the boaters are responsible for removing the debris off their boat and then putting it in a trash container. So I think that pad should be big enough to hold the 10 by 10 inch boat cleaning station, as well as a caged trash can that wouldn't blow away. And I'll meet with Dale probably next week to see if he's still willing and interested in doing that excavation for us at no cost. So that would be great. We Friends of Park Lake, we purchased 76 trees. We were talking about purchasing 100 trees, and rather than buying seedlings, 100 seedlings, we bought 76 transplants. So they're 2-3 feet tall. They've got a few years of growth on them, so they will take to the land better and grow faster, and we'll be able to see some benefit from them sooner. Friends of Park Lake, the township, and MDOT met on Park Lake Road. The main areas between Josephine and Nichols Road. If you drive by there now, you see trees with ribbons tied around them and flags in the ground. The flags in the ground are where the trees will go, and the ribbons around the trees are the trees that we like removed so they don't provide that area with so much shade, and it gives the trees a chance to get some sunlight and grow this summer. MDOT is looking at 3 things. They're supposed to get back to us on Friday this week. It will be 2 weeks then. They had 3 concerns. One, they're not sure whether or not the area is designated as a wetland. A lot of that is just runoff from the highway and was created by the highway, but they're checking on that. Secondly, we have a new endangered species of bat, that is BAT, in Michigan now, and it's illegal to disturb the undergrowth or the potential roosting areas for the bats between March 27th and May 5th. And so he's checking with the DNR to see if this is considered a bat roosting area. And his third concern is that our right-of-way permit is to plant trees. And we, in our agreement with them, the right-of-way agreement, the state in the agreement agreed to clear the land where we are going to plant the trees. In other words, cleaning out the underbrush, taking down some of the saplings, and creating a clear environment for us to plant trees in. And the MDOT, the site manager, wasn't sure whether or not MDOT would be able to bring in their contractors to clear those trees and that underbrush. These are 13 lots of land that are owned by the state highway department, so it is essentially their land, and they haven't mowed it or cleared it in years. So we're waiting to hear from him on Friday on those 3 issues. We will be planting trees, even if that's all we can do, on April 24th in the afternoon. And the primary area for planting on that day will be the land that's right along Park Lake Road between Josephine and where the blue or gray house is that the township purchased last year. And then the next bi-monthly meeting for every other month meeting for Friends of Park Lake is scheduled for April 13th. Questions? Comments?
Sounds good.
Good. No, I think most of us are involved in one way. So the update's appreciated. So good. Thank you, Judy.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll talk about, well, in a minute or two, the waterless cleaning station and options. So it's on our agenda. So the township report, I don't want to put you on the spot, Joe. You don't have to give a lengthy report, but a couple items that might be relevant, and we might integrate them in our discussion later, concern kind of the Board of Trustees, what discussions they've had to date about the boat launch and the house that is just to the north of Wiswasser Park and the property across the street. I think those are probably two of the most relevant things, but if you have other things that you think our board should be aware of, that'd be wonderful too.
Okay. I can speak to the issue of the new property that we acquired where the gray house is on the Wiswasser Park side of the street. The plans are to go ahead and bid that out again. We bid it once and the bids came back too high, and then winter started and we just didn't get back to it. So we're going to rebid it. And the plan is to remove the house. And of course, there's a big gravel pile there. I don't know if you guys know where that is. It's between the house and the park. And they want to level that out. And how they're going to use that gravel, I don't know. They may use it to add, because it is gravel, to the parking lot up front. Okay. But the basic plan is to just level the property, okay, and get it ready for use. At which point in time, they're going to bring in this group, okay, along with the Parks group, Parks and Recreation group, to have one of those brainstorming sessions and see how you might want to develop the rest of that property. But the main goal right now at the board level is just to get it flat so we can start to use it. That's the main goal there. On the boat side, where the boat launch is, we haven't had much discussion. We're just kind of waiting to see how the boat wash comes out, how you guys want to plan that. So that's about what I can share with you this evening.
Okay, good. Well, that's tremendously helpful, just in terms of kind of knowing what level of discussion the Board of Trustees has had and kind of where their plans are to date. So good. Well, thank you. And just, yeah, and, most months where we have a meeting, if you have anything of note, and if it relates to the lake or just general things you think folks on the board would be interested in, that's you'll get the bully pulpit and can inform us of such things.
Thanks for the time.
So our next item is the kind of the boat cleaning station, talking about options. And I think, your kind of reporting here, Joe, is really helpful, because it is, I'm unclear in terms of who is planning what. I think sometimes the minimal communication our board and the Board of Trustees has had kind of leads to nobody knows what the other group's doing. So you sometimes just waiting, thinking the other's taking action. So my approach to these things, I'm going to repeat what you said, just to make sure I got it clearly. So insofar as the boat launch, I've heard from Karen that there's interest in kind of updating, renovating that. There's some issues of runoff from the other side of the road at the park, and so that I think is an appropriate thing to consider, given, again, the high use of the boat launch area as well. Our group, we've been talking about the boat cleaning type of issues for quite a while, and Judy's done really the heavy lifting on kind of exploring options, which, again, for Mary and Joe, originally we were thinking of the more formal, a long pad with a drain and high pressure water systems, and those are used. The challenge we had was basically when you wash with water in that type of situation, it has to go into the drain. It can't go back into the lake. And the kind of sewer folks indicated that in order for it to go into the drain, it has to have, I think it was a 2-part type of system to be able to remove the oil and gas, or 3-part system. And just the expense, just, mushrooms at that point, because it requires power to run the wash. It requires, the drain. I think just the cost just kind of went partly out of where we felt was appropriate, but also just the logistics of where to put those separator type of situations. So again, more to update you. Our discussions then, there is a system produced by a company in Minnesota, and they have various levels of devices. So one of them is kind of, if you will, a shop vac level type of suction device that can remove water as well as particles. And it has a tank. So the water and material goes into the tank, so it doesn't go into the lake. It doesn't go into the sewer, but it has to be maintained occasionally. So that's kind of one level. Those systems can either be hardwired in or solar powered. So that's one level of option. And I think Judy, we just got an email, I think today or yesterday, those run in the $10,000 to $15,000 to $20,000 range, depending on all the bells and whistles that you might want to add to it. And then there's a much lower system that's more basically tools to help people clean their boats. It doesn't have suction, doesn't have a kind of, if you will, a specific, locale other than an adjacent trash can to put materials in. And I think that's what Judy was talking about, where she's been able to raise roughly $2,500 for that, which is the price of that unit. So I think my summary is, we were kind of waiting to get some sense of the timeline, if extensive changes were going to be made to the boat launch area, that would be a good time to kind of do a formal integration of whatever cleaning facilities we have. And we'd probably do a request to do the higher end unit. But we also discussed if it's going to take 2-3 years, it may be worth going with the lower end unit just to kind of get the cleaning started, get people kind of engaged with that. So I think we're more informed. Kind of my gut impression is if the board hasn't discussed much on the renovations to the launch, we're at least a couple years out before any actions would actually be taken there. That seem like a fair assessment, Joe?
I would think that's fair, but you should understand if the board decides that we're going to do something with the boat launch, you're going to be very involved in that from the very beginning. Okay.
Right.
The idea at this point in time is to take the new property we acquired and get it flat, get it draining properly, and then we'll sit down with everybody and say, okay, what do you want to do with this? What's your idea? What's your vision? Parks and Rec will probably head that up, and you're going to be involved in that process. And so we can sit down and get everybody's idea on what do we want this to look like. Okay. So I think that's where we're at. But if for some reason we were to get a little extra funding or something and decide to even do a mill and fill at the boat launch side, before we did anything, this group was going to be involved in that.
Right.
Okay.
So go ahead, Judy.
I would just ask Joe, when and how the conversation about the boat cleaning station ought to happen with the township. If indeed they are going to study the renovation of the parking area and then bring a consultant in, budget that consultant, and then do the planning, and then the third year out, do the redesign. That's 3 years that we could have a boat cleaning station there in the meantime. How do we have that conversation with the township board? or with the township?
I'll go in and talk. I'll go in and talk to Karen about it. I have no problem with that. You know, that's part of my responsibility here is to kind of carry the water in and talk to them and see what the feeling is about that.
It would be great to have your leadership on that. Can I send you via email the information on the boat cleaning station that Friends of Park Lake has raised the money to purchase?
I have no problem with carrying the water on that. I'd be glad to take that and start the discussion.
Karen has it.
So this cleaning station that we're doing would not be costing the township any money. We just need the township's permission to put it there. And then we need to figure out who and what's going to do the maintenance on it.
It's just emptying a trash barrel.
That seems very reasonable to me, Leon.
Right. So bring it. Yeah. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
So what I'd suggest, again, the information, I think, as Judy outlined and you outlined, Joe, if this group's involved, which is good to hear, because, the early discussions, we kind of heard about it roundabout. I anticipate those deliberations will take time, which is appropriate. But I think, again, Friends of Park Lake spearheading, putting in this kind of lower end unit for the time being is really appropriate. So what I'd like from our group, like you said, Joe, you can bring it, but I think I'd like to kind of bring it as a motion to support Friends of Park Lake's initiative in that from this board. So in a sense, it's not just you, Joe, bringing it, it's our board also recommending that this take place, as part of our role. So with that, I guess I can chairs make motion?
Sure. They can in some places.
Yeah, well, here we might, I'll pull off that hat, whatever. So I'd move that our board basically verbally support the initiative by the Friends of Park Lake to install the waterless cleaning station, recognizing there may be longer term alternatives, but in the short term, we support the installation given that it has no direct cost to the township and may only engender small maintenance costs. Emptying trash, which is already done there. There's already a garbage can there. It's just, it'd have to be, maybe it'd add another garbage can. So I think that's the motion. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Yep. Mary's got it.
Okay. So we have a second.
Second it.
Okay. Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
For any further discussion? Okay. So with that, vote all in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
No. Okay. So with that, Joe, I don't think we have to do a formal written thing, but it'll be in our minutes that we passed that kind of support for that. So again, appreciate the fact you're on the board now and communicating. Let's kind of get through these processes a lot more quickly and effectively.
And when you talk to Karen, be sure you mention it also.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be speaking with her on other issues shortly.
Right. So no, I'll verbally let her know that's kind of our outcome. So good.
Okay.
Good. So I think again, long run, the expansion of that area with the newly acquired property, it's great. We'll be involved, and I think that's when our group and Parks and Rec, who we've worked with in the past, that'll be exciting to see what we can do. So that was one thing. The other old business was just the Weevils, and I already mentioned that. I'll check with Karen on that to see where we're at and ensure that they've been ordered and let folks know when they come in. New business. So I did the presentation. Was that this Monday? Yeah, it was Monday. Geez, seems like it was a week ago, but it wasn't that long ago. To the Board of Trustees. So presented our annual report, and they were very grateful to the entire board for everyone's service. So again, thank you all for all the contributions to that. I think some of the questions we received, there weren't a ton, but some of them were kind of about actually the boat monitoring we've been doing via the game camera. So they were interested and something we haven't talked about. I did a few more photos since our last meeting. So I was able to finish all of May and June. May of 2020 had twice as many boats as May of 2019. June of 2020, I think it had roughly 1.5 times as many. No, it wasn't quite that much. It was more maybe 20% more boating. So for the kind of cumulative May to June, it was up 50% over the previous year. So, and I'll be curious to see what July shows. That in 2019, that was the peak month for number of boats on the water. Partly it's the warmest long days. We're kind of most engaged with the outdoors. So that was where a lot of the discussion went. From our last meeting we had developed some questions for the board, and I didn't anticipate they'd answer them right away. But one of the key ones was, better communication, which we're already seeing the fruits of that. Secondly was more insight into the boat launch, which we just, again, are benefiting from that. I think the third question was a broader, longer term, just asking the board if they had other things they would like us to be involved with. And so I think that's where, again, we didn't get anything direct from that presentation. But again, I think, now that Joe's on the board, we have a more direct link. And hopefully, I'm the type, if there's new directions, that's great. If there's positive affirmation, just keep up the good work. That's equally as good. If I tend to groups, but if we don't hear any negative feedback, you just keep on the same path. So I don't know, Joe, I don't think the board had any further discussions. I didn't hang around much, but any insights perhaps there that other initiatives they might like us to take,
Your annual report is just excellent. The written document itself with all of the information that's in it, the history, the different water level, all of that is very, very beneficial. And I hope it's something that you continue to do on an annual basis, because it protects the past and it's going to help preserve the future. So I hope you continue on that track, because board members do read that report.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And we're appreciative again I know Jason had mentioned, he read it, and again, he's new. So,
that's very helpful.
Yeah, it's great to hear, because again, it's the only way we can kind of communicate the history to new people, right? It's been our goal.
Yeah, it works.
Yep. So good. Well, thank you. As I said, we appreciate the positive feedback, because that keeps us kind of on task there too. So I think that's where the Board of Trustees presentation item is. Plans for 2021. I think some of it we've kind of got our routine down, if you will, and some of it's monitoring the water quality. John has been in the past monitoring lake levels. So is that still planned to continue, John?
Yeah, I hope to start tomorrow.
Okay. So again, we have that. Again, a number of initiatives. I'm hoping I'll be able to bring students back out again. Actually, this year, because I lost last fall, we're thinking of class in May as well as in the fall. So we might actually have folks out here a couple different times. So I think the other big plan then is working with Steve Hansen, in terms of lake treatment. So I think that's our, kind of one of our common discussion points in April. But I guess the quick summary is it seems like it's been able to really control the Eurasian water milfoil. The data shows it's really knocked back, and I think keeping tabs on things our main kind of plan for 2021. But again, I want to make sure, kind of some of the newer folks here, and really anyone, if there's anything to add to our plans, make sure to kind of speak up and let us know, both tonight, but in any meeting we can bring that up. So I guess I'll make sure, Mary, I don't know if you had anything specific you'd like to bring forward to our board to think about, consider, or kind of give yourself.
Have we done anything with the trail around the lake, or are we just kind of at a standstill there?
So that, so I know Judy presented something, was it a couple or 3 board meetings ago, Judy?
I had a meeting with Marie, she's our new supervisor. And I wanted to bring her up to date on what we had been doing for the last 2 years on the nature trail. The planning board approved our proposal for the nature trail and sent it to the township board, and the township board accepted the proposal for the nature trail, but they did it the same night that they were setting their 2021 budget. And so we've been encouraged, and actually Dan wrote a letter to the board. I think they got it within the last month, asking to be invited in when they discuss reallocating money in the budget at the next quarterly meeting, so that some of the funds could be redirected to the funds necessary to open the nature preserves, the nature trails. So that's kind of where we are right now. We're waiting to be invited in by the township to discuss that during their quarterly budget discussions.
Okay.
So I think that is another prompt for me to make sure I touch base with Supervisor Howe to see, again, to ensure that I sent a letter, but I didn't get any comment back. So at one level, you're never sure if it's received, but I'll double check that it's been received and that it's, forwarded to the board as a whole.
It was in the board packet about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, was it? Okay.
3 meetings ago.
Okay.
I did call the road committee today, the road commission today, to begin to address the issue on Webster Road of the removal of the sign that says private road, no trespassing, keep out. Of course, we all know that's not a private road, and that sign needs to come down, and it's really a huge stumbling block to getting that nature trail open.
Okay, and I'll turn to Joe. Maybe if you can update us. I didn't realize it was in the Board of Trustees packet.
Right, I got a copy of your letter, as did all of the board members. So that information has gone to everybody.
Okay, so it is.
I have something to add to the budget also. We didn't know during COVID if we were going to get paid or not. It's like any other business. And as of last week, we have collected 98% of our incoming revenue, which is ahead of last year. So we will be able to take a look at some of the things financially in the future, but we just didn't know if we were going to get paid or not. So we really had to slow things down, put the brakes on, if you will. So we will be moving forward in that area. Okay.
Okay, good. And that's tremendously helpful, Joe. And that, again, we don't always know kind of why things are slow, and it's perfectly rational given the budget situation to say slow down. But if we don't know that, of course, we can't, kind of, we'll guess why. That's helpful. That really appreciate that insight. Yeah, Judy, you had a.
Joe, it's a question again for Joe. How involved is the board in quarterly looking at the budget numbers and realigning those numbers? Does Karen do that, or do you do that collectively with Marie? How does that work?
Well, all the board members are involved in that. Then Karen puts a package together that we all take a look at, but everybody is involved in that.
Okay, great.
Yep.
Do you have a copy of the CIP for the nature trail, which includes the budget?
No, that's two different questions, Judy. I have a copy of the CIP, okay, that includes the nature trail, okay? But we did not approve any CIP projects in the budget.
No, you accepted them. You
We
didn't approve
accept,
them.
but we didn't fund them. Maybe that
No.
would be a better way
Oh,
to say it.
I didn't I never meant to imply that at all.
No, okay, so, yes, we all have copies of that,
Thank you.
okay?
Okay. So good. So we'll I think the key there is keeping on, the communication up with the board, just as as the budget situation is more clear, then we'll, maintain kind of pressure to keep that kind of on the front burner for the Board of Trustees. So thank you for bringing that up, Mary. That again helps bring us all up to speed. Leon, you had a.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so another thing that I would like to see for 2021, both, and I'm not sure whether it falls under us or Friends of Park Lake or both, is to publicize more to the community about the lake. We still have COVID times. Things are still going to be slowly opening up, but we have a place where people can safely do outdoor things around the lake. And there are people that don't even know. You could probably get off Webster, turn the other way, and have never really driven around the lake. So finding a way to get some information to township residents about what we have here would be great, in my opinion.
Okay, good. So, maybe in our next meeting, we can talk about some, brainstorming some ways to do that. As a resident, I get some things, but as a committee member, we get other things. So like Taylor sends out Friday reports, and
Right.
The Tommy King Junk Day stuff started rolling out. That seems to be a kind of flyer that goes out to a lot of people. It might be another venue for that.
Right. Well, there's something that goes in the sewer bills too. So
Right.
maybe we could put a piece into that.
Yeah, that's the one you want to use. That goes to everybody that's on the system. And we just got that. I just got my sewer bill the other day, and there's one in there. So
Okay.
if you can get an article and you can get it into that, you can reach a lot of people.
Okay, good. So, perhaps we'll kind of work on that next meeting and get something drafted again. And then it'd be nice if that becomes a regular, I'd say an annual thing. I tend to be one, we don't want to, overwhelm people, but, once a year in the spring, reminding them Park Lake is
Right.
Perfect.
the lake's open for business, right?
Especially with the delay in the solstice this year.
Yeah. So okay, good action item. So I think that kind of rounds out our meeting tonight. Without any other public, anything else folks would like to kind of bring up? No, the lake. Oh, go ahead, Judy.
Leanne, I will just say that the next time the creamery is open, you just drop in there and you'll see a brochure that Friends of Park Lake did in the spring on Park Lake. Might take a look at that and see what you think that.
Okay, great. I will. Good.
Yeah, I'm just making a note about your thing, Judy. Yeah. So I mean, those of us living around the lake noticed it's opened, it thawed. So before the ice got too sketchy, I was going out with my ice auger and drilling holes and measuring the thickness. And in those few days before the ice broke up, it was losing an inch a day. It was pretty remarkable. It was pretty cool. So like the winter, you see kind of ups and down. I think our max was almost a foot of ice. The week before, I think we were at 8 inches of ice. And then we had those, they weren't particularly warm days, but long, sunny, bright days. And it was it looks like a cliff. So that'll be something I'll try to share next time. It's, and it goes in, this year was a pretty clear when the ice was on and off. It was basically, one morning there was a sliver, that evening there was most of the lake, and the next morning it was gone. And some of you may have seen on Facebook, I took a time lapse just of an hour at dusk. And I mean, you could visibly watch the ice receding. It was really pretty cool to see. So
Did anybody lose a hut this year? Did they get it off?
Did anybody lose a what?
One of the huts. I mean, there's been times where I've seen they're too late.
Yep. I didn't notice any out there, but yeah.
Okay.
But no, it was remarkable. Now we've got the ducks kind of coming back already, more toward Dawn's house and John's house, and Cheryl's. There's lots of canvasback and ringneck and scaup and bufflehead, and I saw some widgeon this morning. So all kinds of fun stuff out there. Plus geese, which I know Mary and I had a chat about her fun geese, right?
Well, you know.
Yeah. So all right. Well, with that, our next meeting is scheduled for the 21st, and I've got a couple. Like I said, I got a couple action items. I'll chat with the folks at the township, and update you if there's anything to update on. I think mainly with Judy, if if kind of the wheels keep going, we might be able to get one of these units ordered, within a reasonable time frame. So good.
All right.
Thanks
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
So
Goodbye.
have a good one, everyone. And thank you, Taylor.
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, yeah. So thanks, Taylor, for hosting, and we'll see you all sooner or later.